to the solution. So in this lecture, what I am going to talk is why the pharma industries are thinking of going for artificial intelligence and what is happening at this moment and what is going to happen in the future. Okay. And the first thing is, whatever I am talking here, all these are my opinions based upon my experience and based upon the expertise that I have. I am not claiming that I am an expert in artificial intelligence and I have had an experience in artificial intelligence. Okay? And most of the information that I got is from this journal, Nature Reviews Drug Discovery Journals, a series of journals that were published, series of articles that were published by the topmost pharma R&D companies in the world. Okay? And unfortunately, there is no single pharma R&D company from India which is there in the top 10. Okay? And we are going to see what is happening in the pharma R&D, why many pharma R&Ds are closing down, and lots of mergers are happening. Okay? That's what we are going to see. And these are the few terms that the people use. Okay. One is the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the one that makes the machine to work better than a human being. Suppose if you Google for something, how many hits you will get? Did I lose the attention of all the people? Just I am asking, suppose if you Google something in a google.com, how many hits you will get? Usually you will get more than 500 to 1000 hits. But how many pages will you see? Only the first page and the second page. That's all. We don't go through all the pages. That means we are missing lots of information. And it is very difficult for the human brain actually to consolidate all the information. Even I myself, suppose if I want to buy a car, if I Google it now, I will get more confused because I don't know what is the best and what is not the best. Because it's very difficult for me to go through entire information that is available in the Google. Okay? So definitely I feel if there is something assistance by a computer says that, hey, I help you, you know that there are so many cars and you know I have searched about 30,000 websites and this is the best because of this, this is the best because of this, this is the best because of this. Okay? So, that is the scenario. That's where the artificial intelligence stands. Okay? How the human brain thinks. Okay? And a machine learning enables us to find hidden insights without being explicitly programmed where to look. Okay? So,
adapting pattern of drug use leading to clinically significant impairment or distress associated with difficulty in controlling drug taking behavior, withdrawal and tolerance. The state of getting the drug function in the normal function. So these are basically the chemical substance that cause addiction. First one is morphine and its derivatives, then cocaine, amphetamine, benzodiazepine, marijuana, tobacco, alcohol, and sedative and hypnotics like barbiturate and other things. Nature of addiction. Basically, what happens? There are two particular circumstances. One is experimental drug use, and second is circumstantial drug use. And this is a casual drug use, and this will lead to compulsive behavior towards taking that particular drug again and again, and that will lead to motivational strength and motivational toxicity. If someone is nicotine addict, he's smoking cigarette daily. Why is smoking cigarette daily? Because it's due to its motivational strength. Yeah, I'm feeling good with that particular thing. So this will lead to motivational toxicity, and this motivational toxicity leads to addiction. So diagnostic and statistical manual of mental health for the area for substance dependence. As per DSM, a maladaptive pattern of substance use leading to clinical significant impairment distress as manifested by three of the following at one time: tolerance, withdrawal, substance taken in longer amount or overly of intent, persistent desire, great deal of time spent in activities used continue despite knowledge of persistent and recurrent physical and psychological problems likely to have been caused or exhibited by the substance. Any person which is taking this substance, he or she must know that this particular substance causing some changes in their neurochemical behaviors, and this will later on lead to addictive behavior. But still, that particular individual or that particular subject is taking that particular substance again and again. Why? It's only due to a reward, and that reward is in the form of pleasure, and that pleasure is due to release of serotonin and dopamine. I think so. You people are familiar with these two terms, serotonin and dopamine. These are the psychedelic neurotransmitters that play a very prominent role. So there are, with respect to dependence, there are physical dependence and psychological dependence. Physical dependence, if someone is not able to take any pump in the morning for the cigarette smoker, they are suffering from the withdrawal syndrome. And withdrawal syndrome in the form of anxiety. They are not able to control their movements, skeletal movements basically. And tolerance to respect and repeated use. That is psychological dependence, extreme pathological state in which obtaining, taking, and recovering of drug represent a loss of behavior control over drug taking, which occurs at the expense of other activities and despite adverse results. So, a situation where drug procurement and administration appear to govern the organ's behavior, where the drug seems to dominate the one particular subject's motivational care. Some drugs produce physical dependence and withdrawal, and this dependence will lead to addicts. Over time, drug has no longer have the same rewarding effect. Once you will feel the pleasure by taking these drugs, and later on this will lead to tolerance. Now, what regulation and down regulation of that sector, and you, for getting that pleasurable effect, you are taking that particular drug in a higher amount. And when you are taking this drug in a higher amount, and this will lead to tolerance. Now, metabolic tolerance. Now, in these days, that is taking a barbiturates and benzodiazepine. In the first case, they feel kick, but later on stages, with the metabolism of barbiturates increases. So, to get that particular kick, he is taking this benzodiazepine and barbiturate in a higher amount. When it's due to the release of this metabolic enzyme, that will lead to that metabolizes barbiturates. Now, vitamin alter urine pH, making it more acidic, which will lead to excretion of a vitamin. So, if someone is taking a vitamin to stimulate their CNS system, later on stage, the urine become more acidic and this will lead to more excretion of a vitamin. To compensate that dose, he is taking higher dose of vitamin. And this high dose of vitamin leads to tolerance and down regulation of receptors. And this down regulation of receptors will lead to what? To get that pleasurable effect, he is taking more amount of vitamin. And this will lead to addiction. Now, psychologically and pharmacodynamic cellular tolerance, receptor affinity and number altered by the drug action and disruption of the homeostatic process. We say there are like we are taking alcohol, we are taking benzodiazepines. Now, alcohol is basically acting through the GABA receptor, and benzodiazepine also acts on the GABA receptor. So, there is basically a receptor affinity. So, you are taking two things that act on the same receptor. You are taking alcohol, you are taking benzodiazepines. So, what happens? Due to this pharmacodynamic and cellular tolerance, you need more alcohol to get that particular effect, or you take more benzodiazepines to get that particular effect. So, behavior tolerance, learning to compensate the drug-induced impairments or responding to a brain conditionally. When you say, when someone is taking nicotine again and again, that is a chronic exposure of nicotine, that will lead to behavior tolerance. If your friend is taking going for smoking, they will say, don't go for the nicotine or don't go for the cigarette smoking.
Advances have happened in science and lots of advances have happened in technology. But however, the people could not able to find a magic bullet, okay, that can treat the diabetes. The reason for that is somehow the scientists after 1960 or 1970 but focused more on the target. Okay? They are looking at a receptor, they are looking at a particular target, they are looking at a receptor. Okay? But however, now the people, that is called one drug, one target, one pill. Now it doesn't work. What they say is one pill, multiple targets. I know that in research community previously they are against this concept. But entire scientific community has failed to understand the diabetes. Okay? So that's why previously the people talk about target-based screening. And nowadays, diabetes, until now no one knows what should be the best target. No one knows. Okay? So, and also the drug efficacy, toxicity, and area prediction. Nowadays, actually, you need not to discover, you need not to synthesize anything. And if you prepare a molecule, if you design a molecule, it is going to tell you that whether it is going to work or not, whether it is going to have efficacy or not. Okay? This is called as a supervised learning because you need to give the data that is published in the literature, and also you need to give your compound. Then it will search. Okay, what kind of things it can have. Okay, and of course there is a disease subtype. Whether let us say this is a type 1 or type 2, and a target discovery, and do you know what the
lacking behind the diabetes.
What is it?
India is lacking in a curing process of diabetes.
Yeah.
So if we all know that diabetes is a genetical disease, if it is genetical disease, if it is, then it can be treated. Then if it can be treated with the ERT or enzyme replacement theory, then will it cure the diabetes problem in India?
No, disease. Okay, because we will buy the diabetes usually because we eat lots of food, junk food. Okay, and your point is right. If they can pinpoint a particular gene that is responsible for the etiology of the diabetes. Okay, now the human genome is completely, revealed. If they come to know that a particular gene is responsible for the diabetes, if they can make it shut, okay, its activity, it's possible. But until now, no one knows actually what gene is responsible for the etiology of the diabetes. And genetic, yes, is there, but it's not for all.
Then what is the use of the Human Genome Project that was held during 1990s? Then what is the use of that?
Yeah, what happened was, actually it was good. Because the Human Genome Project, what the advances that were happened, that's why if you see the majority of the targets that were there in the literature were increasing, tremendously increasing after the human genome was completely sequenced. Okay, but however, where the lacking is, they could not able to see how they can apply the data in drug discovery. Am I right? Because the human being's brain is not sufficient to analyze all the genes. That's why they think that taking the help of the computer would be the solution. Okay, so until now, there was one phase has done. Am I right? Now they are going to the second phase, and that's what their artificial intelligence is doing.
So if artificial intelligence came into the medicine line, then will it increase or decrease the drug potency that is acting on the target side? Because you only once said that GSK has a strategic discovery that is being different from each other company.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Okay.
Does they use the HGP or they use the traditional method to analyze and sequentially break down each and every genome code?
Okay. And one of the reasons is, one of the strategies GSK is, if they find a very, very good drug discovery chemist, they can buy that person at any cost. When I say at any cost means, even they can pay $500,000 per annum. Okay, that is their strategy. They don't bother. And there are few people who work in GSK. What they say is, we don't bother about how much it costs. I want the chemical within a day, within 24 hours. Okay.
Because Dr. William Bangari to offer a mobile certificate to the State President Dr. A. Ramesh Garu and Co-State President Dr. Sri Kamala Garu. Dr. B. Babani Garu to be as chairperson for the current plenary session. To occupy the chair on the dais. Now I invite the Honorable Chief Speaker, Dr. Sneha R. Babani Garu to take the chair on the dais. Dr. P. Ravisha Garu to introduce about our chairperson.
College of Pharmacy, East Godavari. I'd like to call her to introduce our speaker now.
And good afternoon, one and all. Happy World Pharmacist Day. I'm very happy to see all your cheerful faces, but the seats have to be filled. Because in classroom also I used to insist the students in such a way you have to fill the first benches, not the last. Okay? Good. I want to introduce our speaker, Sneha Ambani. She is currently working as a professor and head of pharmacology, AIMS, Jodhpur, Rajasthan. She has a teaching experience of more than 20 years. Her fields of interest are diabetes, infectious diseases, geriatric medicines, and presently she is working on effects of cannabis. She got Best Paper Award by Indian Pharmacology Society titled Role of Serum Electrolyte in Essential Hypertension in IPS conference held in Ahmedabad in 2000. She was awarded a certificate of appreciation from Principal Dr. S.N. Medical College, Jodhpur for the best performance and dedication as a faculty member in 2013. She published a book titled Review of Pharmacology in 2012. She contributed 80 publications of various national and international journals and participated in deliberations at various conferences and seminars and presented many papers in national and international journals. She delivered several plenary sessions and plenary lectures on various platforms, especially on rational use of drugs. She has been working on various research projects funded by ICMR. Madam, we are glad to have you on this session. Really, I am very fortunate to introduce you. And Madam, now she is going to teach, otherwise she is going to tell regarding the good clinical practices, ethics and safety issues in clinical trials. Now this is a boom, Madam, clinical trials.
To see the slides. Artificial intelligence and just to get the drug which can be used in humans just by getting the database so that we can move further. But I'm discussing the actual working on the human beings. So when we are working on the human beings, we will have to follow some guidelines. And I must say, treat them as a human, not as an animals. Even as he said, animals are not used for preclinical trial experimentation. Accepted by various agencies, but I will not discuss that. I will discuss clinical trials which was conducted in human beings. Do you know why we need to know these ethical principles while dealing with humans? Why it is required? Why we are discussing all these things? When a person or patient comes to you, he have trust in you, right? So when you are dealing, we have to discuss, because when a patient comes to you, he have faith in the physician when he comes to you, and you have to maintain that particular relationship. When a patient comes to you, he has trust in you and want to be well or want to be healthy. Also, we physicians or rather clinicians or the researchers, we are responsible for well-being of the any person or patient we are treating. Physicians, they also need some attention. And now, as you know, all these clinical trials, they are basically most of the time sponsored by so many companies. So patient. These are the being human. But these physicians or researchers who should take care of all these patients. Before going in details about these ethical principles, I would like to give some definitions. What is actually drug trial or clinical trial means, because so many are there, this audience is students. So can you someone tell me what is clinical trial? What do you mean by when we say clinical trial?